In a laboratory on Earth, two extremely powerful humanoid species were constructed for military applications. Their names were Blagunski and Zabumski. They were bioengineered to have the ability to absorb the brains of living creatures for energy via consumption from the tentacles on their faces. For as long as they keep feeding off brains, they will supply themselves with enough energy to live forever. However, the project was deemed to be unethical and thus was cancelled, leaving the scientists to resort to launching them into space to prevent them from destroying Earth. Blagunski and Zabumski, being able to preserve themselves through space, eventually landed on the planet Aquafine. They team up and start to absorb the brains of all creatures on the planet, growing stronger with each and every brain consumed. After 50 years of constant feeding off the creatures of the planet, Blagunski and Zabumski became total evolved specimens. This means that they have reached their full biological potential, giving them abilities such as flight, strength, regeneration, and most importantly, the ability to create life. They found that if they took chunks of their brain, the chunks would regenerate to lesser versions of themselves, resembling almost exactly like their human ancestors with human-like capabilities. They would call these creatures Kradons. Blagunski and Zabumski tested this life-creating ability, but didn't fully dedicate to life creation quite yet. After a few years, a space station known as the Solar System Sacrificer entered the solar system. The beings on the spacecraft were very religious and believed that there should never be any perfect beings, and that they were responsible for stopping any being from becoming perfect. When they recognized the potential of Blagunski and Zabumski, they initiated their planet destruction project, set for destroying Aquafine with Blagunski and Zabumski along with it. Though just before the planet was destroyed, Blagunski and Zabumski flew off Aquafine and toured the SSS. They destroyed the spacecraft, leaving it out of commission permanently. Being forced to leave Aquafine due to its destruction, they then left the solar system in search for another home. Blagunski and Zabumski landed on a new planet similar to their old one. Its name was Azarkina. They decided to part ways to use their life creation skills to make their own civilizations of Kradons. Blagunski would make his civilization of Kradons known as Piggles, and Zabumski would make his known as Oinkishash. The namesakes of these civilizations were because the Oinkishash and the Piggles were the two most abundant species on Azarkina, which they believed were above all other species, much like how they believed that they and all their people were above all other species as well. The Oinkishash and the Piggle both became very successful civilizations, though inevitably they would find each other. The generals of both civilizations would become aggressive against the other civilization. Thirsty for power, wars break out between the civilizations. Blagunski and Zabumski, who once were an unstoppable team, were now against each other. After 30 years of warfare, Blagunski and Zabumski decided to set aside their differences and join together to form an ultimate civilization. With a combination of the OS and the Piggle, they formed the OSP civilization. With nothing to stop or distract their reign, the OSP quickly dominated and urbanized the planet. The OSP became so extremely technologically advanced, Azarkina became completely uninhabitable due to the OSP draining it of its resources. Blagunski and Zabumski decided to ship their Kradons on massive space shuttles in search of a fresh new world to start on. While in these ships, the Kradons would all be preserved cryogenically and have their minds hosted within a simulation of their old Azarkinian world. The Kradons would have their memories of the past erased to ensure their safety as to prevent anyone from escaping the simulation and waking up from the cryogenic sleep. The ships would depart for a search of a new world.